Hello, everyone, and hope you're all doing well. Let me see if you can hear and see me okay, but I think we're live and everything is working. Now, sorry, I had a short technical problem, yep, and now we are ready to start. So, how are you today, guys? And really happy to see you here with me and Wall Street English, as usual. How are the last days of Ramadan? As we're just waiting for a couple more people to join. And feel free to say hello, how you're doing, how are the last days of Ramadan going for you. And today we will be discussing Stephen Covey's Seven Habits, the book, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And it will be a discussion, so get ready to type in the comments. Let me know if you've read this book or you've heard about these habits before or not. And it will be, I hope it will be an interesting discussion for all of us. Great. So let me just set everything up so that I can see all your comments and we'll start shortly. More people are joining, and very happy to see you all here today with me. So, in the comments, feel free to anything. But and hello, Safe. And so, as I said, now we have enough more people joined. Just would like to repeat that today it will be an online discussion about the 7 habits of highly effective people. So there will be questions during this live, and get ready to type your answers and share your thoughts. Great. So let's begin. And the first habit mentioned in the book is sharpen the saw. Let me know if you heard this before. And I will just briefly talk about what it means. And basically, to summarize, today I've taken from the Blinkist magazine. It's a great source, actually, if you want to read something. If you don't have time to read the whole book, but you just want to get the summary. So all of that summaries I've taken today from there. So yes, the principle is basically about not working yourself to death, right? Not working too hard, not working so that you have no energy to carry on. It's important to have a sustainable lifestyle and something that will allow you to continue, something that will give you time to recharge, recuperate to feel better and to be effective long term, right? Because sometimes we feel that, oh my God, there is so much work, right? And I need to do, and we work really hard for a short period of time, but after that we feel exhausted. So the this principle, this habit looks at a sustainable lifestyle. So make sure that there is something that you can continue. And here is the question. How can you apply this principle to your own situation, to your own life? So please write it in the comments. As I mentioned before, today will be an online discussion. It will help you practice your English and discuss these really great ideas. So while you're typing the answer to the question here, how can you apply this principle to your own situation? I will just share my, just answer the question myself, right? So in my own situation, I like to keep busy. I like doing many different things. And sometimes I take on too much. I start doing too many things at the same time because I get interested in everything. So recently, I really started looking into how to make sure that I don't do too much and make myself exhausted. So I instead of planning like huge things, if there are many things going on at the same time, what I started doing is I dedicate uh, maybe 10 or 15 minutes or half an hour or an hour to every task, depending on what I need, so that I maintain little steps. Maybe I won't progress as fast as I want to, but it will help me improve or do something long term. So I plan the really small steps. Like, for example, now I've been quite busy and I don't have time every day for 1 hour workout. So I make sure to have at least a 15-minute workout, right? Or I'm still working on my French, but again, I don't have time for like lessons. So I make sure that I have 10, 15 minutes. Maybe I will just learn one word or I will learn one video. I keep moving forward. I keep progressing, making those small baby steps. So this is something that works for you, and this is how I apply this principle in my situation. But tell me, how can you apply this in your own situation? So look forward to your comments. Write them in the comments. Yeah, feel free to share. And hello, Amel. Good to see you here. So really, in today is a discussion, and many people have heard of it, but want to give you this opportunity to practice your English and discuss interesting topic. So just waiting for one more minute for hopefully your comments to come in. And Amel said that it makes her think about management styles, and not work to death is learning how to delegate tasks. I 100% agree with you. Is sometimes managers again they think about, there are so many things to do, right? And there is so many things to take care of. So sometimes, again, thinking long term is it's better, same here, spend a bit more time, mm, maybe training the employee how to do the task, so that long term you can delegate this task and ask somebody else to do that. So great tip, Amel. Thank you very much. Okay, if you have any other tips, feel free to write them in the comments. Otherwise, let's move on, and let's move to the second principle, which is be proactive. And Eamon said we can make a planning for work. Yes, plan. Actually, talking about planning and plans, today I read an interesting article. It talked about how to make yourself burn out. So it's the anti-advice, right? So something that you shouldn't do. And one of them is that it was like, if you want to make yourself burn out and get tired and exhausted, do not ever write plans. So yes, making a plan, and the short term and long term plan and daily plan is really important, and I think that's something I should definitely do more. Great. So thank you for all your contributions, and let's move to the second point, tip, second habit of highly effective people is be proactive. So we talked about, yes, we can be proactive or reactive, right? Proactive, it means we do something before to prevent or before something happens, right? We prevent different things. And reactive is we react or we do something after something happened, right? So here the tip goes, don't spend your time reacting to the external events, to circumstances. Take charge and assume responsibility for your life. This is really important, right? You have to assume responsibility. You are the ones, that's how I feel it, right? You are the ones who are responsible for what's happening in your life, for what's happening. So it can help prevent many different problems at work or personal life. And also, it it makes you feel more in charge and in control and more confident about what happens with you. Uh, so because again, if you always think that well, I cannot do that because of this or because of that, and then it's really hard to achieve anything. However, if you think, okay, so what can I do to change the situation, what can I do to improve, if you are proactive, then it can definitely help you in your daily life as well as work. Uh, hello, Sharif. And so, what does it mean to be proactive in your own words? Yes, I kind of answered that question already, but feel free to write that in the comments. And the second question is, what qualities are needed to be proactive? Again, to some extent, you need to be responsible. I already answered that. But feel free today to write in the comments the answer to this question in red. And I'll just remind for those who just joined is that today we're having a discussion about the 7 habits of highly effective people. This is a famous book by Stephen Covey. And we are having an online discussion. There is a question and you can write the answers in the comments. And Amel said that it is important to experience help to be proactive. Hmm. Do you mean that you need to be experienced and you need to have experience? I'm not sure. Experience help, or you need to somebody to help you to experience help. So, not sure what you mean here. So, can if you could clarify, that would be great. Uh, And yeah, but if I understand correctly, you're talking about the experience helps us to be proactive, then of course, yes, the more experienced you are, because when you're not experienced, when you don't know what happens or what can happen in the situation, it's really hard to predict and think ahead. But at the same time, if you are with experience, it's easier for you to become proactive. Yes, to be experienced. Okay, yes, I'm also great. I understood that correctly. So we can say experience, having enough experience. So with experience, you can become more proactive because you have many different situations. And Sharif says that it's also the qualities that we need is being organized, take decisions on time, right? So take the I'd say take decision at the right time, because sometimes you need a bit longer to take the decision, and sometimes it's important to, at least in my experience, it's important to um, sort of have this give myself some time to think on certain decision, and sometimes you need to take decisions quickly. But yes, take decisions and do not procrastinate. Yes, do it's really difficult sometimes to procrastinate, but yes, do not procrastinate, just do it. um, or procrastinate effectively, right? Proactive attitude means anticipate in the time, and will get the right actions. Yes, great, yes. Anticipation, that's a key word. Great, and it needs a well-defined process. Fantastic ideas. I'm sorry, I can't read Arabic. So if you could tell me what your name is, then I could mention your name in the future. Oh, I'm really sorry. Just now, wind blew into my windows and they shut. uh, but everything is okay, and we can continue. Great. So let's move on to the next habit. And this is probably one of my favorite. Tarek. Okay, nice to meet you, Tarek. And thank you for translating your name for me. So this is something probably one of my favorite ones is begin with an end in mind. And I always think about the goal or why I'm doing something. What is the purpose? I, especially recently, unless I know why I'm doing this, I will not do that, or until I know why. So I always try to have a clear objective. Yes. And that's exactly what the habit is. Don't spend your life working aimlessly. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna shut my window because it keeps banging and then disrupting. So give me a second. But meanwhile, please write your comments about answering the questions below. How do you define your own personal principles, right? Your own personal aims. And how can you establish your mission statement? And have you done it for yourself or your work? So think about the vision, think about your goal, think about where you're aiming, and answer the question in red. And meanwhile, I'll go shut my window. Oof, it's really windy today, but it's much better now. Great. So feel free to write in the comments. How do you define your personal principles, right? Your personal principles, your personal aim. And it's important, I will just to say that it's important to have a vision and a, a mission, right? We're talking about missions whenever we talk about businesses, but also if you think about if you've ever dealt with life coaching, it's important to align your action with your personal mission. Yes, Sharice, thank you. My window's okay. It didn't break, thank God. And but it was a bit noisy. Uh, so let me know in the comments, do you have your personal mission statement, and do you have a mission statement for your company or your business? That would be interesting. Oh, amen. To be free and give direction. This is fantastic. Yes, freedom is one of the main principles for many people and for many successful and effective. It's important to feel free, and it's fantastic, great mission, and give direction. Yes, you know where to go, where you're aiming, where you had it. Great. So if more comments coming in, feel free to comment and say something. And we will continue to the next habit, which is put first things first. Yes. And of course, it's about prioritizing. Yes, it's important to prioritize. At some point, we talked about time management before in one of our lives before. And we talked about things that are important and urgent that should be done first. So, again, going back to this, we're talking about prioritizing. So you should focus on what is important and what brings you closer to your vision of the future, right? Before we talked in number 3 is begin with an end in mind, right? You have a clear goal, and prioritizing helps you to focus on what is important, what takes you to the goal. So every time you are doing something, for me especially, it's important to ask, is this, what is my goal, and is this taking me to my goal? Is this my priority? Is this bringing me closer to my vision of the future? So it's because it's really easy to get distracted by urgent and unimportant tasks, right? Because there are many urgent things that, or things that you need to do urgently, but those things are not important. And these things often distract us from our goals, from our aims and our objectives. So it's important not to get distracted. Uh, So feel free to write in the comments the answer to the question: what are the key roles you take on in your life, and how can you integrate those into your mission statement? So here different. We're talking about social roles and different things that we do in our daily lives. And for me, for example, I will just base it on my own experience. Is several roles that I have. Right, I'm the manager at Wall Street English, Tunisia, the service manager, and I am a wife, right, and I'm a daughter of my mom, and I also have some other activities. So there are many different key roles that I have in life, and knowing about my future, knowing about my goals, I can integrate these roles into my own mission statement, which is mm, difficult question. Hmm. Uh, Again, something along with being free and being being free. Yes, I'd go with that. Uh, so again, I try to build my life in my work life, my routines at home, so that they make me feel free. For example, uh, I sometimes, like, there is a choice, right, between, for women it's often the case, right, cleaning your own house, right, or inviting somebody to help you. Yes, you would have to pay money for that, but it gives you time. It saves you whatever 3 hours of time, so that which you can use to work towards your personal goals. And for me, it's more important, yeah, to do that. And yes, I have, on the one hand, I have my role. Yes, I'm a wife, and I there are certain things I have to do in the house. But again, this helps. Bringing somebody to help with the cleaning, with taking care of the house, helps me free time towards my personal goals, and I put my personal goals first. What about you guys? What other things? What can you say? What roles do you have, and how do you prioritize them? And while you're writing the comment, the answer to this question, I'll just read a few comments that popped up in. And Sharif said that it's important to define our life mission, vision, and of course, our values. Yes, I agree with you 100%. And what is the most important thing? Then they're writing like honesty, respect, perfection. Yes, Sharif, 100%. Uh, Key values, key principles. What is the most important thing? Honesty, something that comes to me, comes first. It's important for me to be honest and responsible. So these are the priorities. Uh, yes, the Eisenhower chart technique to manage priorities. Yes, yes, exactly. We've talked about that in one of the previous lives, and it's a great technique. And it definitely helps you focus on what's more important. Yes, Amel also mentioned, so Tarek and Amel both mentioned the Eisenhower matrix, and helps you define what's important. Sometimes the thing is that sometimes we do that in work, but then we don't do it in our personal lives, right? And it's important to focus on that in both work and life. And I think effective and successful people do both of those. Fantastic. So let's move on to the next habit, which is think win win. Yes. So feel free to write in the comment what is win win, and why do you think it's important? And can you give an example from your personal experience of a win win situation? So write in the comment, why do you think win win is important? And if you, maybe you can give an example. And yes, another comment came from there: prioritizing your schedule versus scheduling your priorities. Yes, yes, it is important. Uh, to understand the difference here. Uh, and I think schedule your priorities, right? So think win-win. And for those who are just joined, we are having a discussion, an online discussion today about the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, a famous book by Stephen Covey. And there are some discussion questions in red to which you can write the answer. So thinking win-win, right? This can again apply for to both personal and professional life. Whenever you're negotiating, don't try to get the biggest slice, right? But find something that will be acceptable to everyone, something that will be good for everyone. Think about I win and the other person wins, not I win and I don't care what happens to the other person, or I win and the other person loses. Uh, it's important for building positive relationships. It's important for building long-term relationship. And again, it can be with uh, both in personal and professional life. Um, yes. So Mel says she always uses the win-win mindset to negotiate with clients and insurance companies. Yes, great. And that's fantastic. Thinking about avoiding conflicts with other, yes. Sometimes the conflicts are there and that they're hard to avoid, but resolving conflicts is also with a win-win mindset. Great. And again, this can apply to your personal life as well. When maybe even negotiating with children. I don't have children, but if you have children and teenagers, it might sometimes help as well, as I know from my friend's experience. Uh, Great. So, moving on to the next principle, we just have 2 to go, and then we'll be wrapping up. Is seek first to understand, then to be understood. Really interesting thing. Yes, seek means search. So first, seek to understand. So what you should do is you should try to understand first the other person, the problem, the whole story, right? And then to be understood, right? So sometimes what happens is that we want to solve the problem immediately, right? And we want to find the solution immediately. And according to Stephen Covey, that's a mistake. We should take time to listen to the other person, to understand what happens behind the scenes, right? What is this whole story? And only after that, take the recommendation, make the recommendation, and find the solution. Okay, because sometimes I know sometimes it's sometimes hard, especially not so much in the professional life, but in the personal life. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I don't know the right emotions around, and it's difficult uh, to really understand the other side. But definitely, in my experience, that helped a lot, and that this really helps generally when I listen to the other person, when I hear what the other side has to say, and then we find a win-win solution together. Great. So there are quite a few comments coming in. So let me just look at those. And yes, so Amel said that's how we said long-term relationship and all trust at work. She was talking about the win-win situation. Yes, Amel, 100% agree with you. And that's something that we do in Wall Street English with our employees is we think win-win, and that's something that we have a lot of young employees, and definitely have this mindset and try to teach them think win-win as well. Uh, it Eamon said it's a sentence. A strategy is one. I wish everybody is accommodated. Yes, it's an accommodating everybody, and not forgetting about yourself, of course, but generally thinking about everybody. What will be the solution that will be not perfect, not ideal, but good for everyone, right? And yes, Samel is talking about the capacity of listening. You have to be. I think that's already about this habit. Seek first to understand. Yes, being a good listener, uh, listening actually to what other people are saying is important. Sophia said that win-win method lead to the continuity and the progress of our relationship, especially at work. All members gain all what they need. Exactly, yes. And won't be tired to repeat that is not only for work but in personal life as well. And now that a lot of people were in lockdown and still are across the world in the lockdown, and probably a lot of people have heard about the increase of domestic violence, which is really sad to hear. But I think all these principles can be applied not only to personal life, professional life, but personal life as well. Thinking win-win with your family members, with your children, with your husbands and wives, with your parents, and whoever you live with, and also listening. Uh, Great. We have 2 ears and one mouth to listen more than we talk. So, yes, exactly. You have 2 ears. I love this quote. I love this phrase, Sharif. Yes, I agree with you 100%. And Damon says it contribute to moral understanding. Yes, definitely. Moral understanding, understanding what's happening, really understanding what is happening. People like to be listened to. Yes, people like to be heard. Yes, and people like when they are listened to, and this really helps solving their problem efficiently and quickly. Sometimes I find that sometimes a lot of people just want to be heard. They like if you give them this time and this space at work, employees or customers or colleagues, anybody, if you just give them this time and space to share their thoughts, share their concerns, to just talk it out, then very often it's easy to find a solution. So it is important to listen. And I think we definitely should do a bit more listening of each other. Great, fantastic contributions, guys. It's really fun to have this discussion with you today, and it's really nice to hear what you have to say. And we move on to the final habit of highly effective people. Yes, number 7 is synergize. Right. So again, uh, synergy, what are we talking about here, and how can you think of how synergy might work in your own life, personal or professional? And basically the principle is that in a group we can achieve more than as an individual. uh, Alone, it's really difficult to do everything yourself, right? But if you work in a group, or then you can definitely achieve more. That's why big companies or companies achieve more than individuals, right? Just one person. When you have the team, when you rely on people, when you don't just try to do everything yourself, you can definitely be more effective. So again, like all of this goes uh, all of this goes to all the other, like as we were talking, I see that how all these principles are linked to each other, right? If you work in a group, you have someone to delegate the tasks to, right? If you're alone and you have no one to delegate, you cannot do that. Again, it's easy to follow your mission. It's easy to follow to reach your goals if you are in a group of people who are thinking the same, who are supporting you, who listen to you when you need to be heard, and also for others, right? You listen to them. So synergy is a great word and a fantastic thing, again, for your personal life and professional. And talking about personal life in any household, I think it's important to share the task, right? To work together with your children, with your husbands, with your wife, and solve things together. This is making real team, right? At home and at work as well. Great. So let me just look. Feel free to write your comments about this habit and it's really fun discussing and hearing your ideas. And I'm just going to look at what you've written as well so far. Uh, yeah, so Mel, experience listening and you will gather huge data. Yes, exactly. The more you listen, the more information you have, and you get a lot of data and a lot of things. Uh, you can you can probably start the research on that. And Anis says sometimes people only need to be heard. Yes, Anis, exactly 100% agree with you. Listening, but Tarek says listening permits avoiding overreaction. Exactly, yes. So when you listen to another person, you don't, uh, you actually think about what happened, how the other person feels, and you do not overreact, right? You address the points, you become more conscious of the other person's feelings. You have more empathy for this person. Ability to work in a team, yes, exactly. It's important to work in a team. That's what we're talking about, synergizing and working in a team. Again, thinking win-win in a team, working together. So a lot of that comes here. We can improve synergy by team building. Yes, it is important to build teams. For managers, it's really important to build a team and making sure that everybody works together, right? Um, oh, Sharif, I think there is another good quote. Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success, by Henry Ford. Thank you, Sharif, for this wonderful quote. And I think at this point, there isn't much more to say. This is the fantastic wrap up of this live session. And it's been fun discussing all of that today. Uh, so working in a team should be taught to children at the very beginning. Exactly, yes, being a part of a team, working together. uh, Great. So we're going to wrap up, and traditionally just going to tell you that we are working now 100% online. And if you would like to join Wall Street English, become one of our students, feel free to contact us and learn things. Uh, Sharif, you can now go back. Yes, your job is done. That's it. Your job is done. Thank you very much for participation, and you can go home now. From your office. So yes, now we are 100% online. And for if you would like to try that, you can get a 1 week trial right now if you write one of the 7 principles that we discussed today. So let's see if you paid attention in our live session and write one of the principles that you discussed today. This is for people who are not our students yet. Our students, you know that we have something always special for you. So if go to our special Facebook group for students, and you can see how you can also benefit from well, already you're already benefiting by studying with us, and you can get further benefits. So, Safe, yes, to be proactive, synergy. Tarek, are you our student? And Safe, you're our student, right? So you can get the 1 week of free trial for your friend or family member. And Tarek, are you a student or not? Miriam, I think you're a student as well. So what else? Uh, and I will just get the first 7 different ones. Me too, Amen, me too, me, what is that? Prioritize win-win, yes. Okay, so Tarek, well done, great. You get 1 week trial with us. Our consultant will contact you for further information. If you want to get 1 week trial, you need to write now one of the 7 principles. Oh, great. So Miriam tried to write something that nobody has written yet. So we have be proactive, synergy. Okay. What are the other 5, right? We've got 2. There are other 5. Prioritize win-win. Yes, win-win. Prioritize and win-win. So that's the other 2. And Miriam, oh, you're not a student. Okay. And Safi, you're not a student, really? Oh my God, then you should definitely become a student. So great. Then we have Safi and Tarek. You can get 1 week for free because you shared the principles. And Miriam, you added win-win. Great. So we will stop here. We have 3 people who can get 1 week for free. And Sharif, thank you very much. Wall Street English is the best way to improve your English. I'm well paid to I'm well paid to write this here. Now that's not true. We're not paying you to write that here. You just love us so much. Great, fantastic, guys. So once again, Tarek, Safeh, and Miriam, we will contact you to get your 1 week trial. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. It was fun discussing these 7 habits with you, and I'm sure you are the very effective people. Bye.